is comedian and writer Andrew Doyle, who joins us here. There he is.
Hello.
He's not in America. He exists. He exists. He's physical. He's real.
Any excuse to touch me.
Absolutely. You should have seen what I was doing with that chair before you turned up. So
I can guess.
Hello, lovely to see you, mate.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You've been obviously very busy this weekend at the festival. Did you enjoy it?
Well, it's a highlight of my year. I love it.
Yeah.
Genuinely, because I'm that sad. I love debates, basically. So we turn up and we do lots of panels and thrash out the issues of the day.
That's it. Well, look, let's get straight into it, because one of the big issues that we're talking about, I mean, we've been talking about it for a while now, but this definition of Islamophobia that the Labour government trying to kind of rewrite or put through, they're saying it's been scrapped, but it's actually a little bit more complicated than that.
Well, there's a bit of a history here because, of course, the all-party parliamentary group about 6 years ago...
See, that's the difference in me and you as hosts. You can remember those kind of those level of details.
Yes, well, they decided to come up with a definition of Islamophobia, and as I say, this was cross-party, so Dominic Grieve was involved as well, and the definition they came up with was pretty unsatisfactory. They said that Islamophobia was a form of racism that attacked Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. So make of that what you will, because no one really knows what that means. So it's a very vague definition, and it's factually wrong, because Islam is not a race. Islam is a belief system, so it's just not racism. So they've had a lot of pressure ever since then. There have been some sort of overtures by the Labour government trying to settle on a firm definition of Islamophobia, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a bit of a nonsense term anyway. It was a term that was popularised by even Islamists have attempted to popularise this back in the 70s. You know, so this has been a term...
To stop criticism or to conflate it with as an ideology.
Well, look, there is such a thing as anti-Muslim hatred. There are people who will attack individuals who are identifiably Muslim. That's already criminal, obviously, because that's assault. So there is such a thing as anti-Muslim hatred. But that then gets conflated under this banner of Islamophobia with anyone who criticises any aspect of the religion. And, of course, you can't have a belief system in a free country that isn't open to ridicule or criticism. I mean, that's just the way it is when you live in a free society. So that term, Islamophobia, was a rotten term anyway. And, of course, even calling it a phobia almost pathologises it. So there are perfectly good reasons why you would disagree with tenets of any religion. Calling it a phobia almost implies that you have a sickness, you have a problem in you if you oppose, I don't know, the treatment of women in Islamic countries or the treatment of gay people in Islamic countries. But those are perfectly legitimate perspectives to hold. So now they've said, we're going to bring the definition out. They're not telling us what the definition now is. That's been kept under wraps. I'm not sure why. They've said we're going to be very pleased with it. And insiders have said it doesn't use the term Islamophobia, in fact. So I don't know how they've defined Islamophobia. I think they've decided to go for anti-Muslim hatred. But that doesn't need a definition. It's self-defining. Why do you need to define officially anti-Muslim hatred?
Well, they've taken away also that element of Muslimness as well, so that's encouraging.
I don't know what Muslimness means.
They couldn't define it. But the question is, so when you read into it, it sounds like they're just scrapping the whole thing. They've already written the report. It's, as you say, it's secret. It's gone to the government to approve it or not.
Yes.
But there's some of the people who are involved in writing it have very suspect connections themselves.
Yes.
And one of the chilling elements for me was where they basically said, look, if you don't adopt this, then we're just going to stick with the previous definition, which is, as you talked about, just terrible.
Well, it's a threat to free speech. I mean, this is why the Free Speech Union has been involved to try and sort this out. And, you know, there is, I mean, frankly, there are elements of the Labour Party that are trying to appease the Muslim vote, you know, and they think that this will help that. But no group deserves protection regarding their beliefs, other than the freedom to believe whatever you want to believe. So, but you can't be ring-fenced from criticism. It's just not a thing. So we'll see what happens now. I'm looking forward to what their definition actually is going to be. But there's an added problem, isn't there, insofar as, OK, if they come up with an official definition of anti-Muslim hatred, now, I don't like the idea of hating anyone, really, or any group. But if you're dealing with human beings, we have the freedom of emotion. I don't think hatred should be something that the government or police are involved with. People are free to hate whoever they like, for whatever reason they like. That's called being a free individual in a liberal society. And we may not like that, but that's just the reality. And that's why I oppose all hate speech laws, full stop, because you're trying to audit an emotion that is the product of a long time, evolutionary history, in fact.
As a side sort of story. This week there was, you see Lord Toby Young of Acton.
I can't get over calling him a lord. It's mad.
He loves it. He loves it. He won't let you call him Toby anymore.
Well, he only wears the ermine now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, he's dressed as a weasel.
But they put forward an amendment on the crime and safety bill to finally scrap these non-crime. I know they're your pet hate, or everybody's pet hate. These non-crime hate incidents that finally we might actually be able to get rid of them.
Yeah, well, thank goodness for Toby Young, because not just because he set up the Free Speech Union, which has been one of the most important weapons that we have against this erosion of our freedoms, but also that he's standing up there and making this case. I know we've seen Claire Fox, of course, in the House of Lords, making brilliant cases as well. It's good that we've got free speech defenders within the system now. Toby Young is putting together a report on freedom of speech and hate speech specifically, and he's actually said we need to scrap the idea of non-crime hate incidents. At least he's saying it. No one's had the guts to say it.
This week, because they put it onto as an amendment, and it seems like it's got a lot of support in the House of Lords, then when it goes back, it actually could go through, and this finally could be the end of it.
Well, this is what it needs. This is what needs to happen. I don't know how much people understand about it, but the non-crime hate incident as a principle, and you've probably got some against your name, right? Because
sure.
You can check. You can do a freedom of information.
Did you do one against me?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Every time you've annoyed me, I've phoned the police.
Straight away.
And I've said that it's motivated by hatred towards a protected characteristic, and then they log it. But they log it without telling you. So you could well have non-crime hate incidents against your name without knowing it. Now, that matters if you're going for a job in teaching or something sensitive like that, where you need a disclosure and barring service check. So it can actually have an effect. And what it means is you're handing a weapon to any activist with a grudge who wants to get their own back on you. I mean, with Helen Joyce, the writer Helen Joyce, she had a crime reported against her name without any investigation. A crime. No investigation, no
she didn't know about it.
And she didn't know about it. So this is really scary stuff, actually, proper Orwellian stuff. I think with non-crime hate incidents, they were invented in 2014 by the College of Policing arbitrarily. And the College of Policing are the body that train police in England and Wales. They didn't have a government mandate to do it. They just did it because they are activists captured. The Home Office has twice told them to stop doing it. That's 2 successive Home Secretaries saying you can't do that because you're police, you're not supposed to be investigating non-crime.
I believe it's 60,000 hours of police time are spent on these.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I know the Free Speech Union has estimated that there's been at least, I think they said roughly 250,000 non-crime hate incidents recorded since it was introduced.
Since I started hosting the show.
Well, I mean, I know quite a lot are against you, and it sounds so flippant and it sounds so frivolous. But actually, if you think about the principle of that, the police being trained to their job is to monitor people's thought and speech. That's where we get this 2-tier policing from. That's why we have this problem at the moment, that the police are being told that their job is to be activists on behalf of this very niche activist group. And it doesn't work both ways, of course. We've seen Lucy Connolly serving over a year in prison for a tweet that she deleted very, very quickly. It was an ill-advised tweet. It was an unpleasant tweet. But it was said in a rush of anger. She deleted it. That should have been the end of it. But she served over a year in prison of a 31-month sentence. At the same time, you have an influencer just a few weeks ago with over 200,000 followers, much more clout than Lucy Connolly, explicitly saying kill them all in reference to Conservative commentators after the murder of Charlie Kirk. The police said, well, there's nothing to see here. So it's just not true. I mean, the head of the Met Police has said, after the arrest of Graham Linehan, said that we have no choice because the Parliament is telling, the Parliament needs to change the law so we don't investigate these sort of frivolous things. But they do have a choice. Police choose all the time which investigations to take seriously and which not to. So that's a lie. That's just not true at all. But now, and he's right in a way, if you have Parliament guiding and saying, no, you can't do that, if Parliament had stepped in earlier and abolished the College of Policing, then we wouldn't have this problem to begin with. If they had recognised, OK, this is an activist body that is unaccountable to the electorate, that is making up its own rules for the police, that is effectively implementing its own laws, acting unlawfully. I mean, the High Court ruled that non-crime hate incidents were unlawful, were a serious chilling effect on freedom of expression. And the College of Policing just said, we'll carry on doing it anyway. In fact, the head of the College of Policing said, I think the problem might be the name. Maybe we should rebrand and call it something else, but effectively keep the phrase, keep non-crime hate incidents. So, as you know, whenever there's a law in place that activists don't like, they just pretend it doesn't exist. And they work around it in the way that Stonewall has been misrepresenting the law on gender equality for many, many years. And I fear that the College of Policing won't change anything unless Parliament says you have to change something. But goodness knows how it's going to work. I mean, yes, we might get this amendment to the bill, but remember, we have a Labour government that is deeply authoritarian by nature. I mean, Yvette Cooper, when Labour were voted in, said she wanted to ramp up the recording of non-crime hate incidents. It's part of their DNA. They just absolutely love this stuff.
Well, let's see what happens to this amendment. Anyway, look, thank you very much. It's Andrew Doyle, everybody. There he is.